got so many people. That's a lot of people. This is plenty. You should have out your sketchbook. You should have your sketchbook open. You need a pencil. You are going to take your sketchbook and turn it horizontally because we're going to be in landscape mode for this sketchbook assignment. We're not going to be in portrait mode. We're going to be in landscape mode. All right? We're studying Baroque art. That's what we've been doing. This week you have 3 videos that you're watching, and you're taking notes on those 3 videos. We're looking at one aspect of Baroque art this week in those videos, and that is that we're looking at like the Catholic side of Baroque art. In the general video, it just talks about Baroque art in general. And Baroque art really came about in a time when the Catholic Church was dealing with the Protestant Reformation. So all these different countries had decided, you know what, we're over with the Catholic Church, we've had enough of you people, we don't want to do it that way anymore. And so they broke off from the church and they started their own churches, all right? And those were Protestant churches. The Catholics had a certain kind of art that they made during the Baroque period. And as I mentioned last week during our meet, the whole point of art was really to get people back into the church because they're losing countries full of people who don't want to go to Catholic churches anymore. They want to go to different churches. And so they were having a real problem with it, you know. So it was sort of like advertising Baroque art. You see this big, huge, beautiful, amazing church, you want to go inside. And if when you're inside that big, huge, amazing church, you see incredible works of art that just like tug at your heartstrings, then you might be more likely to come back next time, right? So the Catholic Church was using art for a certain reason, to draw people in and just to fill them up with the glory of God, etc., what have you, right? In Protestant countries, they didn't have the Catholic Church doing that kind of stuff. And one of the big problems that Protestants had with the Catholic religion was they thought that it was sort of idolatry at this point. And idolatry is just a big word meaning that they had a bunch of like idols that people would worship instead of worshiping God, you know, which is like a terrible thing. In Christian religion, there was all kinds of, in the past, problems with that. There was the golden calf that people worshipped. So if you have grown up in the Christian religion, any kind of Christian religion, then you know that, you know, worshiping these idols is a bad thing. So in the north, in these Protestant countries, they had a different kind of art to make because they didn't need to make beautiful works of art to get people into the churches and keep people in the churches. People were actually coming to their churches for completely different reasons besides the beautiful art. So they made different kinds of art. It's actually really sort of the beginning of art that's made just for the beauty of art at this time in the north, in these Protestant countries. This kind of art, and it has mentioned it in some of the videos that you're watching this week, this kind of art is called genre painting, genre art. And genre art just means that the word generic comes from genre, right? If you go to the grocery store and instead of buying like checks, instead of buying rice checks, you buy rice cereal by Star Brand Company or something like that. The reason that you're buying that stuff is because it's the generic brand that's less expensive. Genre paintings were like that. They were generic paintings, all right? People did stuff in their day-to-day lives, and they drew pictures of it. We're going to be making a certain kind of genre painting this week, except just in a drawing in our sketchbook. Unless you want to paint, which, like, I know some of you totally do that. That'd be rad, right? So we're going to start off with the title for this week's sketchbook assignment, and you can just write it in the lower left-hand corner. The word is Vanitas. Vanitas is a type of genre painting. You can look it up later on if you're interested in that kind of thing. But we're just going to get started working on this together, and then you're going to be able to take over and you just do the rest of the sketchbook assignment however you want, as long as you put the time into it and make it look good. And like I said, read the rubric. Alright? So, we're going to work together. I have a cutie over here, and I'm going to start drawing that cutie, and I want you to draw the cutie along with me. We're going to make a cutie, which is a type of mandarin orange. Never had a cutie before, never been stuck eating lunch at Davidson Middle School because they usually give you cuties. Alright, we're going to start off with a cutie. Alright, I've already peeled it, and we're going to include that in our drawing. Alright, so here we go. I'm just going to sketch in some basic shapes lightly because I'm just such a good art student and I listen to my art teacher. What a guy. Notice where this is in my composition. I need this in the same spot in your composition. So when I post this sketchbook assignment, I'm going to post a photographic image of this cutie. It's over here on my desk. Because this might take you longer than the amount of time we have together today. We've only got about another 10 minutes together. And you can add that to your composition then. In about 3 minutes, I'm going to pull the camera back again and I'm going to add another aspect to this drawing. All of this stuff on my piece of paper is pretty easily erased, except for a couple of parts where I've pushed pretty hard. So I'm going to have the opportunity to be able to go back and fix things, and hopefully you've given yourself that opportunity as well. Because I don't know that my drawing of a cutie is exactly perfect, so I'm going to have time to fix it up later on. But you're going to notice, I only did this in the corner of my piece of paper. There's a lot more piece of paper left for you to add anything that you want to this drawing. But at this point, since I'm done sketching right now, while you're finishing up sketching this part, I'll talk about a Vanitas. A Vanitas painting is a painting that shows worldly items. It shows stuff that people like. Vanitas paintings came about as genre paintings in Protestant countries because rich people like paintings about rich people stuff. And so they put rich people stuff in their paintings. There was lots of goblets of wine and fancy seashells. There was lots of pearls and beautiful jewelry in Vanitas paintings. But there are, thousands of different Vanitas paintings. And no two Vanitas paintings are the same. People would make them all the time, and if the stuff in that Vanitas painting looked good enough and looked fancy enough, then rich people would want to buy it. And they'd go down to wherever people were selling paintings and they go, oh, this looks like some seriously rich people stuff. And I'm a rich person, I'll take that one. Right? We are not the only generation to go completely Gucci. It's been happening for a very long time. And this is an example back then. So, in order for you to turn this into a Vanitas, like the title says, you need to include really cool, beautiful, amazing stuff that you either have or just that you know of. Like if you're like, dude, I want to have a McLaren, great, draw that in your Vanitas drawing. If you're into a particular brand of clothes, you could draw that in your Vanitas drawing. Right? Any of the stuff that you think is particularly cool is the kind of stuff that would go in a Vanitas. You include any of the cool stuff that you want. And it doesn't just have to be stuff. You can really do this drawing about anything that you want, as long as you have included this little section that we're doing together, and you've spent an hour and 40 minutes working on it and it looks good, then you can include anything in this drawing that you want. At this point, like I said, I'm going to back the camera up and sure, bread. Everybody loves bread. Yeah, you could include that. I don't know. Whatever. Alright? Focus this mother. Alright. Other thing we're going to add to this drawing. Vanitas drawings, oftentimes, it's a still life, right? And a still life would be done on some kind of a table, usually a beautiful table, alright? But what we're going to do for the means of you giving the illusion of depth is we're going to include a horizon line in this image. And you can imagine if you want that horizon line is simply the edge of the table, and you can include other items on this table and make it like a still life if you like. Or you could turn this into some outdoor scene, and because this is the lowest thing on the piece of paper, because it's in the lowest register, and it's got good contrast, then it just seems like it's closer to you. You could make a road, you could make mountains, anything that you want. Go wild, be creative. Nick Block, you like graffiti letters? Fantastic. Big, huge graffiti letters in this composition. It's going to look great.